In this video, we're going to learn the difference between compound and simple interest.
In a previous video, I created the table in front of you and used it to demonstrate simple and compound interest and show one way to calculate these two things in Microsoft Excel. There are many ways to do the exact same thing. You may, for example, not want a table. You might just want to know what the result will be 10 years from now. And what we're going to do in the second part of the video series on simple and compound interest is I'm going to show you how to just simply enter a formula without doing all these steps needed for a table. Now what I'd like to do is show you an alternative way to set this up. So I'm just going to type the words alternative methods right here at the bottom of this table. And the first alternative method is simple interest using a formula. And the second alternative method is compound interest using a formula. And finally, we're going to do compound interest using an Excel function. All right, so let's come up with a formula for simple interest. The basic idea behind simple interest is we're going to take our initial investment, in this case $1,000, the present value, what we had at the beginning. So we type an equal sign to tell Excel we're going to be using a formula, and click on the 1,000. And then we're going to add to that all the interest that we earned. And the interest that we earned, I'm going to do a parentheses. I don't think I need to, but I'm going to just so we can have a nice visual break in our formula. The interest that we earned is going to be our $1,000 plus, multiplied by our 5%. And then we're going to do that 10 times. So we'll multiply that by the number of years. And we'll close our parentheses and hit enter, and we end up with the same $1,500 we did before. And I showed you that so that you know you don't have to make this complicated table. You can just simply enter a formula. And this is a formula you can look up. It's in textbooks and it's online, and it's not like it's hard to find these things. I might stick the formulas in the video description so that you can see them quickly and easily. Now we have a compound interest formula. And this is in just about every finance textbook and almost every business textbook on the planet. A lot of mathematics textbooks will have this. You can just Google simple or compound interest formula. And you can find this really. So the basic idea is you're trying to find the future value. You might see this listed as a future value formula. So the future value, what the investment is worth any number of years from now, is equal to what it's worth now, the present value. So that's this $1,000 we started off with, multiplied by, open parentheses, 1 plus the interest rate of 5%. Now a word of caution. Depending on how the interest rate has been entered into Excel or how it's written, you might have to divide by 100 to get this to work. So if you're punching this in on a calculator or doing this by hand, be really conscious of what you're putting into this this spot in the formula. 5 and 5% are two very different numbers. All right, then we're going to close the parentheses and we're going to type a caret. That's the shift and the 6 key to get a caret, and then we're going to click on the number of years, which in this case is 10, and now we'll press enter. And what we end up with, well, it's not formatted, so we're going to go to the home ribbon and the number formatting, and we're going to format it as dollars using the accounting function. And we see that using the compound interest formula, in 10 years from now, we get the same thing using the table that I created. Again, more than one way to do things. Now, Microsoft Excel has a function that you can use to calculate compound interest. And the thing to remember is this whole compound interest concept is about finding the future value. So we take a present value and convert it to a future value. So we want to use the future value function. So equals FV, then open parentheses. So the first thing it asks for is the rate. That is our interest rate. It's looking for it as a percentage. 0.05, right? 5% is the same thing as 0.05. Then we type a comma And now Microsoft Excel, you can see it right here, it wants NPER, the period number, meaning what year is it that we're finding our future value. In this case, we want to know the future value in year 10. So we click on our number 10, type a comma, and now it's asking for the payment. We're going to leave the payment blank, or leave the payment as 0, because we're not making annual payments. We're just dropping $1,000 into our investment at the beginning of our investment. So we're going to actually type a 0 there and then type a comma. And now we have what we're really looking for. It says PV. That's the present value. That's a lump sum at the beginning of these 10 years. And Microsoft Excel wants this entered as a negative number. Microsoft Excel is thinking cash flows. Meaning if you drop $1,000 into this investment, that's a cash outflow from, say, your checking account. So we're going to type a negative sign and then click on our $1,000 present value. And the final argument in this function is type, and type is an optional argument. We don't need to include it. And so we're going to type a close parentheses to end the function and hit enter. And as you can see, the formatting is slightly different, so we'll just change the formatting. We get the exact same number that we got with the compound interest formula that you can get from just about any finance textbook on the planet. And the same thing we got when we used a complicated table to calculate everything. Now here's one more thing I want to show you. If you've done a good job setting up your Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, we can go in and we can change any of this. We can change our investment from $1,000 to $50,000. And everything will update automatically. We might have some formatting issues, but everything's going to update automatically, right? We can change our interest rate from 5% to 10%, right? And everything's going to update automatically. We might need to make the spreadsheet cells a little wider so things can fit when the numbers get bigger. And if the spreadsheet is set up correctly, changing the numbers here will change all the numbers over here. And that is one of our goals. One of our goals when we design a spreadsheet is to create something that's flexible so that we can make some minor changes, and with those minor changes, see a different result. All of the math stays the same over in this area, no matter what the numbers are in this area. And so our goal is to set this spreadsheet up where we can sit down in front of someone who's maybe not very computer literate, and we can say, well, here, let me show you what happens if you invest $50,000 today. In 10 years, you're going to have $129,000. And that's kind of the logic. Or if they don't have $50,000 to invest, let's give $5,000. All right, there you go. $5,000 will be $12,000. And we can change the years to, say, 9 years. And that'll change the number. And you can look at that number in the table. And it's a nice, easy, and clean way to show people how compound interest works and how simple interest works. I hope that you found this video useful. I hope that you learned something you didn't know, or at the very least, I hope that you reinforced something that you knew before. This channel is all about learning. Our goal is to learn and learn together. So if you know of a better way of doing this, a more efficient way of doing this, please post in the comments. Please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button.